I'm down here at Ultimate Diesel Tuning and I'm just about to catch up with good mates Rob and Trent who are going to perform a custom ECU remap on my big 79 series. A lot of people call it flash tuning, but these guys do full custom tunes. Now, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to take you and a cameraman behind the scenes to find out exactly how they do it. We're going to ask a lot of detailed questions and go and get to the bottom of exactly what they do to get more performance out of vehicles like my 79 series here. So come along, I'm very excited. I can't wait to show you the results. Well, Rob, not gonna lie, mate, very excited to be down here. Been looking forward to this moment for ages, mate. I just want to see what sort of power you can unlock out of this 79 series. It already goes pretty good. Look, I'm happy with it, but you know, I know you guys can work your magic on it and get it even better, you know, and that's what I'm excited to be here. What's the process? What are we gonna do today?
Yeah, sure, Sean. So firstly, we're gonna give it a once-over. We wanna make sure we've got oil in the car that's right. We want to make sure that we've got air filters are nice and clean, map sensors are nice and clean, and fuel filters are nice and clean. So we give it a full once-over. Once we've done that, we'll back it on the dyno, give it a base run. So just running up, seeing how the car is in standard form before we do any tuning. Once we've completed doing a base run, we'll take it off the dyno, we'll inspect the intake manifold, give the intake manifold a good clean out, right through the intake and the valve train. Once we've done that, we start moving over to the tuning.
The tuning, wow, it's quite a massive process really. You're not just in and out in an hour, eh? This is a whole day sort of, I can see this is going to take a while, but you've got to be thorough with every step, don't you?
Yeah, Sean, we're here at 8 o'clock. We're not leaving before 4:30.
Wow, this is exciting. This is exciting, mate. Well, let's get into it. I won't take any more of your time up. Let's get this thing on the dyno, I suppose, and see what the base number is.
Yeah.
Trent, what's the big difference between ECU remapping and a standard sort of diesel performance chip? I suppose there's a lot of different performance options out there, and what separates you guys from a standard chip?
Well, being able to retune the factory computer gives us the ability to adjust everything without tricking signals from sensors. So, say a fuel rail chip, it takes the signal from the sensor itself, changes the voltage and sends that to the computer.
Right.
We're changing the information inside the computer, so we want a pure, clean signal from all of the sensors. So we don't have to trick the computer to get the result. We just tell the computer to do a slightly different operation for the same signal.
What's the big difference there? Is it obviously a better tune for better performance? If you're getting exactly into the computer, you could probably get better performance figures. But yeah, well, what about safety?
Well, all of it. So being able to actually change the data in the computer is definitely the better way to tune your car, rather than trying to trick parameters or sensors. When there's a ripple effect. If you're changing a voltage from a fuel rail sensor, there are other maps and sections of the ECU that rely on that signal. So you could be changing one sensor to get a result, but you're also potentially disturbing lots of other areas in the computer as well. With a remap or customizing the software in the ECU, we're physically looking at the fuel tables, and we can pick individual cells and make specific adjustments. And everything is dyno tested. We don't tune any cars without having them on the dyno. It's one thing in theory to be making adjustments in the software, but we need to see the real world results. And we need to see, make sure that everything is safe. So every single car is customised on the dyno for total peace of mind that it's done properly.
And speaking about peace of mind, obviously you're tuning these vehicles in certain parameters that you've established that are safe working parameters for the vehicle. Why doesn't vehicle manufacturers just deliver a vehicle like that from factory? It seems like these things are a lot underpowered from factory, maybe built at a compromise or something like that. Why don't they just come out with a lot more power?
Well, they have obviously a lot of different criteria for the car. So they need to meet emission standards, and they'll have certain longevity and power requirements, and they want to situate their vehicle in a certain power level and spec in the market. So some of the cars respond amazingly well to what we do in remaps, and like your car, massive gains. But some of the other models, the gains percentage-wise aren't as big because there's just not that much left on the bone in terms of being able to tune them up safely.
Now, I suppose the number one question that a lot of people have about extracting more power out of their modern turbocharged engines, how reliable is it? Like, how reliable is it to get more power out of this 79, for instance?
Yeah, well, our goal is that every tune that we do is still reliable.
Yep.
We want customers to be able to drive their car around Australia, tow the caravan, the boat, whatever, and do it safely for the life of their car. By custom tuning it, we can improve their throttle response and the torque delivery and give them better fuel economy while still keeping the car safe and reliable. So they get the best of both worlds.
So after you do a custom tune on a vehicle like this, you're going to get more power, more torque. It's going to be a lot better to drive. That makes sense to me. What happens to fuel economy when you do something like that?
It's a little bit counterintuitive, but it actually improves. By giving the car more torque and more power, the customer can get the car to do what it wants with less time on the throttle. Mm-hmm. So less time on the accelerator, less RPM to achieve the same result. It actually saves fuel.
So if you're sensible with your right foot,
100%,
you will get better fuel economy.
Correct. So what we've found with customers is in a combined driving cycle, they see around the sort of 10% or above saving. And it's literally the fact that they don't have to drive their car as hard to get the same result.
How good is that? So more power, more torque, and better fuel economy.
Ticks all three.
So we've just had the big 79 on the dyno for its first initial run. Now, keeping in mind this is stock standard, and we've got the results. Let's go through those results, shall we, Rob? They don't look they're a bit underwhelming, to be honest with you.
Oh, don't be alarmed, Sean. It's pretty standard what we'd expect from the 79. From Toyota, 151 kilowatts, 430 newton meters at the flywheel.
At the flywheel. Now, of course, we're not taking these measurements from the flywheel. It's on a dyno, so...
On the dyno at the wheels today. So your car's done 102 kilowatts, 335 newton meters at the wheels, and remembering you've got your 35-inch tyres on there, that has impact on the number as well.
And that's pretty normal. You're happy with that figure?
It's exactly what we'd see from a 79 with 35-inch tyres on it, yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing you're going to notice, Sean, is below 2,000 RPM, it's going to be a completely different car to drive. The torque you'll be generating down low is really nice and really linear. And to be honest, I think you'll notice a significant difference after it's been tuned.
And that's where we want that power, isn't it? Down low in the rev range.
Absolutely. It's a diesel car. It's all around down low.
Excellent. All right. So the next step, mate, we're going to get it off the dyno, and what are you going to do?
We're going to pull the manifold off, have a good look at the intake, give it a full clean out through the intake and the valve train, get it as close to new, so then we can get in and custom dyno tune it for you.
And we can start the tuning. That's what I'm most excited about, mate. Let's get into it.
That's where the good stuff happens. Sean, what we see is usually cars around 40,000 Ks, we get a fair bit of soot build up. Good that you've got a catch can on, but the exhaust gas recirculation valve, the exhaust gas is coming back up inside the manifold, and basically that's what lines the coating of the inside of the manifold and the valve train. It gets that real soot build up. So usually we say around 40,000 Ks they've been cleaned, but we're going to inspect it anyway. We're going to remove the intercooler from the top, remove the top plenum, have a good look in there. Doesn't need doing, we won't, but I'm pretty confident that it will need a good cleanup. Look, you want that intake manifold as clean as possible, so then when we're custom tuning it, it's going to be optimised and get the best out of the tune, because the tune's only ever done once.
Yeah.
We're tuning this car, doesn't have to be done in 6 months or 12 months time. We do it once for the life of the car. We use about 6 to 8 litres of solution. It's pumped in, like I said, at about 65 PSI pressure to clean that whole intake. And it's not just the intake manifold we're doing, it's also obviously the valve train as well. So it vaporises as it goes in and dissipates out the exhaust system as a vapour. Get it back looking like brand new, and then it's great for the tune.
Then you've got a basic brand new style intake manifold. You've got no soot build up, so it's the perfect base to start the custom tune. So the intake manifold's been cleaned. It's like brand new inside that 79.
Beautiful.
And we're ready to do the tuning. Now, Trent does all the tunings for ultimate diesel tuning. So you've done over 5,000 tunes?
Yeah, that's right. Don't have an exact number, but would say, yeah, definitely over 5,000.
Over 5,000 tunes, that's fantastic. And you are involved in every single tune personally, so it's not just a one size fits all, it's individually tailored for every single vehicle, custom.
Definitely. My only role here at the business is to write the software for all the cars.
Excellent, mate, excellent. So now's the big part. We're going to actually tune my 79 to get more power, hopefully, more torque, hopefully make it just a better vehicle to drive. Can you go through the details, the process of how do you do your magic? How do you tune this vehicle here?
Well, I guess we do a lot of changes inside the software, but it all starts from basically the input from the accelerator pedal. So we call that desired torque. So as you press on the accelerator pedal, it starts off with the desired torque table. And from that table, it then flows the information through the ECU in terms of how much fuel it puts in, how much boost, the injection timing. It all basically stems from that point.
Right, and what are we trying to achieve here? What's the goal with this vehicle?
Well, mainly with the LandCruisers, we're looking to improve the throttle sensitivity. So we want more desired torque for less throttle input. But these cars really respond well from increasing the limits. So inside the computer, there's a whole bunch of tables relating to torque request limits, fuel quantity limits, and boost limits. So we're basically raising the ceiling on all of those, and still keeping it reliable, but improving the airflow through the engine and making it a nice car to drive. We'd start with our towing tune, and then basically we would load our base tune in, see where the car performs in sort of real terms on the dyno, and then we go through various throttle percentages and through the RPM range. We're looking for differences between what it actually makes and what we are targeting, and then we go in the software and tweak all those little areas, and then we just keep repeating that process until we get it perfect.
That's what I like about it. It's custom for this vehicle, because no two 79s would be exactly the same.
No, definitely not. And we've done that plenty of times where we've had 2 or 3 of the same car, literally finish tuning one, use that tune in the next car, and it's a totally different result. Yeah. So you don't want to rely on somebody else's tune. You should definitely have it done to your own vehicle on the dyno.
I suppose you're not tuning a vehicle to extreme parameters. You're well within that safety range of these
definitely
engines.
We always back them off from where we think is the limit of what everything can handle. They have to have safety margin. We're not interested in getting every last horsepower, but we can deliver a cost-effective and a good value result for every customer.
Okay, so Trent's been at it for quite some time now. He's had the vehicle up and done multiple dyno runs, multiple different tunes. You've been playing with parameters, no doubt, just fine tuning this 79 to get the desired result. What is that result? What are we going for here?
Well, the base map was not too bad, except with your car here, you've got a 4-inch exhaust. We were sort of set up for a 3-inch exhaust, so we've had to spend a bit of time fine tuning the VNT map. That basically is the variable nozzle on the turbo, how quickly it gets to boost. With the bigger exhaust, it was tending to overboost a little bit, so we've had to just calm the turbo down a little bit.
Yep.
Just to get to the desired boost and then hold it before it trails off up top.
Trent, now big question I suppose in a lot of people's minds is you've changed a lot of parameters on this vehicle when you're tuning the vehicle, like boost, fueling, things like that. Are you going to expect like engine codes to be thrown up like in 100 Ks or 500 Ks, 1,000 kilometres when I take this vehicle out of the workshop?
Yeah, not at all. We don't want any engine lights. They do get recalibrated as part of the tuning process, but well within the safety spec of the car. But they're all still active, so if there is ever a light, typically there's a mechanical issue with the car.
That's good peace of mind. Another question, I suppose, say I take this vehicle back to Toyota or the manufacturer, Now, they could potentially wipe your custom tune on this vehicle. What happens then? I've got to go pay for another tune? What happens there?
No, not at all. So every customer, their finished tune file gets backed up on our database. So if they ever feel like the tune needs to be checked or reloaded, they can come back in and reload it and off they go.
Easy as that, hey? Well, that's very reassuring, mate. Now, I know you've got a lot more work to do on this vehicle. You're not done with it just yet.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you work your magic, mate, leave you to it, and I can't wait to come back and see the results.
No worries, thanks.
Right, so Trent's done his magic. We've had it on the dyno a few times now, and he's done his tuning. Yeah. This is the results, and I can just tell, I don't know what I'm looking at 100%, but I can tell it's making a heck of a lot more power. Do you want to run through exactly what we're seeing right here?
Yeah, Sean, look, it's a really good result. It's what we'd expect on the 79 as well. The biggest thing you're going to notice is below 2,000 RPM, at 1800 RPM, we almost doubled the torque.
That's where you want that power. You know, off-road, when you're towing, when you're just driving around town, that's where the diesel spends most of its time in that rev range. And if you've got usable power there, that's what's really exciting about this tune.
Yeah, it is. So let's go through the numbers. Let's look at it, and I'll talk you through a bit of where it's come from.
Okay.
So we had 102 kilowatts at the wheels standard.
Yep.
It's gone to 143 kilowatts.
Yeah, right.
That's a 40% gain, Sean.
Massive.
Yeah,
massive gain.
It is. But I think we were saying about diesel, down low, before 335 newtons, it's now gone to 652, and that represents plus 90% gain in torque.
Yeah, almost doubled the torque. That's amazing. And you've got to really feel that, because torque you can feel, that's pulling power, and that's what you want in a diesel, especially a big V8 one like this. Can't wait to actually take this for a test drive. But let's go through, what does that mean for the drivability of this vehicle?
Yeah, so down low, like we keep saying, below 2,000 RPM, that's where you really notice it. That's the part that throws you back in the seat, helps you get out of a bog hole, helps you tow your boat wherever you are, overtaking, and you can just get on the throttle, and it's really linear. The power here is a lot linear now after we've custom dyno tuned the car and Trent's done his magic. And
you can see that just the angle of the curve, that power comes on a lot stronger. It's going to be a lot more responsive to drive. It just comes in a lot sharper, flatter through that rev range. I think it looks like, just on the dyno graph alone, it looks like it's transformed the vehicle.
Oh, it has. And look, Sean, when we go for a drive, I can't wait to see your experience and what you feel when you actually get in, because you drive it every day.
That's right.
You know what it's like, and now you can see what it's like with these gains.
How good is this? Very exciting stuff, mate. You happy with this? This is what you expect out of a 79 series?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time obviously getting it right. We make sure that, with the car, we're happy with it, considering your driving conditions, that we're perfectly happy with this car for you to drive away here today.
That's what I'm most excited for. What do you say we get this off the dyno, give me the keys, and I'm going to take it for a run.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
You reckon?
Holy heck. It's like I've shaved about 1,000 kilos off the weight of this thing.
There's no tray.
Yeah, I'll just check to make sure there isn't. That's different. Far out. That's very noticeable.
Awesome.
That is. Just look at that mid-acceleration. It even sounds better.
Different throaty.
Yeah, absolutely. It just far out. Just like that. Well, what can I say? I'm absolutely lost for words, because this vehicle has completely been transformed. I mean, the numbers on the dyno are one thing, to see what it does as a graph and a number, but getting behind the wheel is a completely another story. This 79 series has just changed so much, and it's all down low in the rev range, which is exactly where I want it. As soon as I put my foot down on the throttle, this thing just puts me in the back of the seat, and it's an absolute pleasure to drive. So the guys from Ultimate Diesel will be answering any questions you might have about custom tuning, so make sure if anything's on your mind, if we've missed anything, we want to go into more detail maybe, comment below, and like always, turn your notifications on and make sure you subscribe to Full Drive Action.